Welcome to Marvel Rewind, a Marvel Champions Retrospective Series. In this series, I will be tasked with defeating every villain in order, progressing from the core set to the latest release. The catch? I'm only allowed to use cards released up until that point. After defeating the villain, they each will be ranked in terms of their difficulty, determined by the cards available at the time. Tune in every Tuesday for new episodes of Marvel Rewind. What's going on, guys? It's Char here, back with another episode of Marvel Rewind, a Marvel Champions Retrospective Series. Now, in today's episode, we are beginning the Age of Apocalypse box, the last of the Mutant Saga trilogy. To start off this box, we're taking on Unus with none other than one of the box heroes herself, Magik. Let's get down to the table and see how it goes. Okay, so here we are down at the table. We got Unus, we got Magik, and we've got the beginning of the Age of Apocalypse box, like you guys saw in the intro. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Unus is our first scenario in this box, and honestly, in my opinion, even without getting into the rating, he's not too difficult. But what he does do is introduce a lot of the mechanics, and he's really simple because we got a lot of new things in this box. So we've got this gene pool permanent side scheme, which essentially punishes allies being defeated by anything other than consequential damage by putting threat on here. Now, it doesn't have like a lose condition or anything, but the threat on gene pool directly corresponds to Unus's ability. If there's at least 3 threat, he has retaliate 1. There's at least 6, he gains stalwart, and if there is 9, he gains I always forget the name of that icon. It's not the acceleration, but the +1 to the boost icons. I know it's hazard, acceleration, but I always forget crisis, but I always forget the last one. Then when we look here, so like any other villain, well, before we get into that, we also have the introduction of Standard 3 in this scenario. So this is a permanent environment called Pursuit by the Past, which reads, after you place a pursuit counter here, if the number of counters here is at least 3 more than the number of players, so in solo it'll be 4, you remove each counter from here. Then if your nemesis minion is in play, it activates against you. Otherwise, you flip it over. When you flip it over, essentially what this reads is almost 1-to-1 with Shadow of the Past. You find your set-aside nemesis minion and reveal it. Then you search the set-aside area for your nemesis side scheme and reveal it. You shuffle the remaining set-aside nemesis set into the encounter deck, and then you reflip this card over. So that's Pursued by the Past. Essentially, it's a way to kind of balance the normal standard set, even though I think the normal standard set is fine as it is. So we have Standard 3 here is what it's called. So it's 1 environment and 7 cards. A lot of them would have analogs to Advance, Gang Up, Caught Off Guard. So like this one's the Caught Off Guard. This one's the Shadow of the Past analog. These two are Assault. These two are Advance. And then Drawing Nearer is the replacement for Gang Up, which is a different way of putting on counters as an obligation. So again, different version of Standard. I do like both of them a lot, but because it debuted in this pack, we'll be playing it today. We've got the Expert set as normal and our obligation. When we read Unus's setup here, we do Unus 2 and 3 for Expert mode. He has a tough, and he starts off with 15 health. So let's go ahead and change the health point down to that, up to 15. Then it says for the ones that are required are the Infinite set, which of course makes sense because he ties in with this gene pool side scheme on his main villain card, so you have to play that. The Standard set, and then the 1 modular set. So the Infinite set's here, and the 1 modular set is Dystopian Nightmare, which is something that has a couple of obligations and treacheries and stuff like that. And this is Unus's set right here. So all of this will create the encounter deck. The setup for this scenario says you reveal the gene pool side scheme, which you already have. In Expert mode, then each player gets dealt a face-down encounter card. So he starts off with a bit more tempo in Expert, so there's a couple more things we have to keep track of. But all things being said, Unus isn't like super crazy. He has a pretty high threat threshold on his main scheme. The gene pool is scary, but it's something that's somewhat easy to keep in check. And his effects, again, with having high threat on gene pool are tough, but if you keep gene pool in check and you don't play into it, he's really not too bad. I'm playing protection today, so that should be an easier way to not play into it. So we'll have that, and let's just go ahead and deal the encounter card because it doesn't really matter if we don't get in one attempt. We'll just deal myself another one. This flips over into Hunting Gene Traders as a force response. After you resolve step 1 of the villain phase, you place 1 threat on Gene Pool. So that's the last of the gimmicks where he ticks up Gene Pool on his own every single turn. The main doesn't start with any threat, and that's about it. So as always, we skip to our winning scenario, or like the winning attempt. So I'll go ahead and see you there. Okay, so yeah, usually it's a one and done attempt, but I realized very quickly throughout that last game, I was about a bit over halfway through that I think I completely forgot to read the text on Gene Pool, so I will try and remember it this time. After an ally is defeated by anything other than consequential, place 3 threat. I think I just kind of started playing it as a normal scenario because my opinion of this scenario is that he's pretty weak. But yeah, we'll shovel that up. We'll also shovel the encounter deck up a couple of times because we need another encounter card. Yeah, no, I had kind of hit that realization I hit with one of our previous Marvel Rewind episodes where I was like, I thought I had cheated the entire game. And because I probably only forgot it once or twice, but since that makes such a big difference in this scenario specifically, I'm just going to redo it. And yeah, so we're here with Magik. Her whole thing is playing with the top card of her deck face up, getting discounts and stuff like that. So let's just see how that goes. So we've got 6 cards here. I do like the Professor X. I also like the Soul Sword. I think what we'll get rid of is these 3. Maybe the Meditation can find us some better cards. We'll get rid of these 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I really don't love these cards. I'll be honest with you. I think they're okay. So we'll just try digging for a bit more. Let's do a Spiritual Meditation here. Because we are a Mystic, we can draw 2 cards. Discard 1 from our hand. Probably discard the Soul Strike, right? We have the Avengers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think instead of playing Professor X, we probably just hard play the Avengers here just to get that economy going. So we'll spend 4 for the Avengers. Then we will go ahead and it's called Exhaust the Avengers potential to draw a card. Let's just spend 1 to get down the Soul Sword. And do we even flip up here? I guess we do, just to prevent a little bit of threat. We do have Piercing, so I guess that's actually not bad. We take a Retaliate, but I think that's probably worth it. Yeah, sure. Let's flip up. Oh, we can put a spell from our discard pile on the top. That is her ability here. We could put a Spiritual Meditation up there. Draw 2 cards. Oh, actually, playing the Spiritual Meditation up there might find us a card that we want to see. Oh, this should not be. I exhausted to draw. Sure, let's put Spiritual Meditation on the top and let's just play it. So we can use our ability once per phase. You can play the top card of your deck as if it were in our hand, reducing the resource cost by 1. So we draw 2 cards and then we discard 1. What do I not want to see? Let's just get rid of the Indomitable here. We can't play it anyways, but it does change the top card. So now we have a Fist resource. So now we have 3 attack here. Go ahead and attack Unus for 3. Bring him down to 2 health. We will take a Retaliate. And that's Unus's turn now. So ready this up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, basic spell. And then we do have a Magic Bear on the top, which is really, really good. Just play that to defend for us first. Yeah, it's pretty solid. Okay, it's going to go up by 1. This force response says after resolving step 1 of the villain phase, a threat gets placed on Gene Pool. So Unus is going to attack us for a base of 2. We'll play the Magic Bear off the top of our deck. Because her ability says once per phase, you may play the top card of your deck, reducing its cost by once, not once per round, meaning on the player phase and villain phase, we can trigger it. So we'll trigger the Magic Barrier here. So we'll reduce the damage by 3. And if it's a lightning resource, we get to deal 3 damage to the attacking enemy. So 2, 3, 4. So we do end up taking a damage still. But because there's a lightning resource on the top, we do deal 3 damage back to him, bring him down to 9 health. Pretty good start for us here, in my opinion. And then we've got 2 encounter cards. So this could all go bad here. Dark Designs. So this is the analogous to Advance in the standard 3. So he puts 1 counter pursued by the past, and he schemes. So base of 2, 3 here, bringing the main up to 4. Not too bad. Second encounter card. Infinite Soldier. So he has Guard, and if the amount of threat on Gene Pool is at least 3, it gains Quick Strike. So we'll take this Quick Strike here, drop us down to 6 health, and it's back to us. Okay, so we have Luke Cage on the top here. I don't think we can afford to play him currently. And I think I want to try and see if I can find a card that's cheaper to play. So I'll just use the Avengers to draw into Luke Cage. Stepping Disc is really good in my opinion. So I think I want to play the Hard Knocks. And then just get down our armor. That's probably the best play we've got here. So let's spend a Hard Knocks here for 3. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If the enemy's defeated, give your hero a tough status. So we'll deal 4 to the Infinite Soldier, and we'll get a tough here because we defeated him. Then what we want to do is get down our Mystical Armor for 1 here. Magik gains Retaliate 1. If we have a Lightning or a Wild on the top of our deck, we get +1 defense. Then what we want to do is we definitely want to lower Gene Pool's threat a little bit here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and lower Gene Pool's threat by 1 by thwarting. Let's play the Stepping Disc on the top of our deck. We'll ready our hero, choose a Magic card in our discard pile, not named Stepping Disc, and put it on the top of our deck. Yeah, it's a Magic card, not a spell. We could just put a Magic Barrier back on top. I think we want to draw into an Exorcism next turn, though, so I think I will do that one. So we readied up, and we could thwart again, but yeah, this is tough. I think we just hit him, right? I mean, I guess we could put a Magic Barrier and really put the gas on him, but no, I think the Exorcism is just safer. So we will just we'll hit him for 2 anyways. Let's drop him down to 7. Oh wait, we take a Retaliate and we lose our Tough if we do that. So never mind, we're not going to hit him. I think we'll just thwart for 1 again, drop it down to 3, and we'll ready up draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, not 6. If I drew a 6 card, it's because I had Sorcerer Supreme last game, but I hope I did not. All right, this is going to go up to 5. I don't think I did, right? It was... Oh no, I think no, it was an Avengers, right? Because it was 3 with the Hard Knock, so that's 4 cards in my hand. I spent 1 for the Mystical Armor. I had no cards, and then I played off the top. Yeah. Okay, cool. 5. Then top card of our deck. Ooh, Desperate Defense is so good right here. Okay. So that's back to Unus. So he's going to raise this by 1 up to 6, and then Gene Pool is going to go up to 4. He's going to attack us here. We're going to just play the Desperate Defense on the top and declare ourselves as the defender. So let's see. Okay, it is a mental here, so we don't have a extra defense, but we are defending for 4. If we take no damage, we ready. So even if he breaks our Tough, we still get to ready off of this. So we'll defend it for 4 here. It's 2. 1 counter pursued by the pass. So he doesn't break our Tough. We get to ready up, and we deal a Retaliate damage to him. Brings him down to 8. Got 1 encounter card. 2 Genetic and Experiment. Attached to an infinite minion, otherwise it surges. Dark Child. You may flip to Alter Ego. Deal 1 damage to each character you control, discard it, or flip to Alter Ego, exhaust, and remove it from the game. We'll do that one. Flip to Alter Ego, exhaust, and we'll remove the Dark Child from the game. Alright, that's back to us. That's actually not bad for us at all. This flips back down. So we know the top card of our deck is a, what's it called? A mental resource. We probably want to get thwarting here. Exorcism can completely clear Gene Pool for us, which is really good. But what magic card would we want to put on the top of our deck is the question. Probably just the basic spell, right? No, it's a spell card. So we want to play the basic spell, play it, and then play the Exorcism. Yeah. So our ability, as it says, as an interrupt, when we change the hero form, we can put a spell in our discard pile and put it in the top of our deck. Let's go ahead and put basic spell on the top, and we play with the top card of our deck face up. Then what we want to do is... we still have this Tough on us. We want to play this basic spell. So I think we want to spend 1 resource because it's reduced by 1 to play basic spell. We're going to remove 3 threat from a scheme. Probably, right? Yeah, we'll remove 3 threat from a scheme. We'll drop the main down to 3. Top card of our deck gets flipped face up here. I think we'll spend 2 for the Exorcism. We'll remove 4 threat from a scheme, and if the top card of your deck has a Mentor or a Wild, we can confuse the villain. So we'll remove 4 from Gene Pool here and confuse Unus. So that should hopefully get rid of all of our threat troubles here. Let's go ahead and use our Avengers to draw Spiritual Meditation here. Ooh, that's so good. Let's go ahead and play it. Spiritual Meditation, draw 2, discard 1. Draw 2 and discard 1. Yeah, well, I guess I actually couldn't have played it unless it was a double right next to it, which is really fortunate. But yes, we will do that. Wow, that was really good luck. And then we'll play the Genius to get down the Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah, that Spiritual Meditation could have actually been trolling. I'm not sure why I did that, but it worked out in the end. Okay, so now we draw up 6 cards a turn, so hopefully we can start turning the game here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Mockingbird. Okay, cool. This is going to go up by 1, and that the force response is going to go up, raise this by 1. He's going to attack us here. We have a Tough, so we'll just take it. 2, 3, 4 damage. That breaks our Tough. He's going to take a Retaliate down to 7. One encounter card. Sinister Strike. So he's going to hit us. 1 counter on pursued by the pass. So we're pretty close to finding our nemesis here, which is always scary. He's going to attack us. Does he have any 4 boosts? I think no. So I don't think I'm going to defend this here. Face of 2. Either put 2 threat on Gene Pool or give him +2 attack. Let's put the 2 threat on Gene Pool. And then he's going to hit us for 2, and we retaliate him for 1. Okay. Cool. That's back to us. We always play with the top card of our deck face up. The Polaris could be really clutch here. I do like Polaris a lot. Let me see. What do we want to do? We get a lot of options in our hand. I kind of want to get the Scrying. Look at the top 3 cards, draw 1, discard 1, put 1 back on the top of your deck. Let's spend the Scrying anyways. Let's look at the top 3 cards. We can draw 1, discard 1, and put 1 back on the top. I think we just discard this. Yeah, discard this, draw this, and put this back on the top. Because I think I want to play the Polaris. I want to find Limbo, but I feel like as soon as I put it out, Velasco is going to come out and steal it from us. Stunning him and confusing him would be pretty solid here, but I don't think we'll be able to do that. I think a stun or at least a tough might be worth doing. I think we have to spend these 3. And then we'll get down the X-Jet. And then I'll come in ready. So we get another resource generator down. Polaris costs 2 right now because she's on the top of my deck. So it'll spend 1 resource, 2 resources. We'll play down Polaris. She comes in, she has a tough status. She can give an X-Men a tough. If we come in, top card of our deck is face up here. I mean, we might as well play the stepping disc, right? We already did our once per turn play off the top. So I think Polaris will go ahead and you have to lower Gene Pool because we don't want, yeah, let's lower Gene Pool by 1 because we don't want to deal with the retaliates. And we'll have Magik go ahead and swing on him for 2. You're down to 4. We'll do an Avengers Mansion to draw into this. No basic spells next. Let's spend the stepping disc here. We're gonna ready and put a Magik card at the top. It's Magik card, right? Yeah. So Colossus would be interesting, but we have no Limbo or anything. I think Exorcism will probably be the best for us. And we're gonna flip down and recover for 3 here. Let's go up to 7. And I think we'll just ready up and draw here. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We just decked out, which is super unfortunate. And he's going to take Limbo from our hand because we have a super high chance of seeing our nemesis this turn. But hopefully we don't. That's all I'm hoping for. Okay, so shuffling up. Got a lot of resource gens. We got a lot of resources to work with. We just got to like push damage on this guy and not scheme out. Okay. Pretty sure I haven't blocked with a single ally or even played one this entire time. So hopefully I'm keeping track of Gene Pool. All right, it's going to go up to 5. This forces this one to go up. He's going to try and scheme. He can. He's confused. 2 encounter cards. First one. War Weary. You are stunned. Okay, so we're stunned right here. I have no steady or anything, so this actually does stun me. And then Infinite Soldier. There's 3 threat on Gene Pool. It has Quick Strike, but what's it called? I am an alter ego. Cool. All right. So our nemesis did not come out, which is pretty fortunate for us. We have a couple things we'd probably want to just play the Nick Fury and see where that leads us. Cool. All right. We don't have anything we can even put at the top because we are an alter ego right now. I don't want to get a confuse just to be safe and start pushing damage on him. That's kind of just what it looks like right now. So I think we'll just start with we have to flip up. And then we see what the top card of our deck is, Triage. I don't mind Triage, but I don't really... It's not like something I feel super strongly about in general. We can't really use our blood gem right now because of the fact that we have to take 2 damage. It's not deal 2 damage, and the tough does not work with that super well. So let's just spend these 4. Let's do an X-Jet and then these 3 resources. Let's play down the Nick Fury. He's gonna draw us 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Top card of our deck is an energy. Okay, so we definitely want to play Limbo and grab that to our hand, I would think. We're gonna start with Nick Fury. He's gonna throw it for 2 off of that. Soul Strike doesn't do anything right now. Exorcism doesn't confuse right now. So I think we will just spend 1 resource. We'll get rid of the blood gem for Limbo. Limbo will come in. We can exhaust it to swap a card in our hand at the top card of our deck. So we can go ahead and swap. I don't actually know which one do I care about happening more. Let's put Soul Strike at the top because I care about the stun less than I care about the confuse. We're going to try and attack here. It's going to break our stun. Then what we want to do is we want to go ahead and spend 1 resource here because it only costs 1 off the top to spend a Soul Strike. We're going to deal 4 damage to an enemy. Let's see if we hit the kicker. We did not. If it had a Wild or a Fist, we would have stunned it, but we're going to deal 4 to this Infinite Soldier here. He's going to be knocked out. Then what we can do is we can do an Exorcism for 2 from our hand. Remove 4 threat from a scheme, and if there is a printed Mental or Wild, we can confuse an enemy, which there is. So it's going to go ahead and confuse Unus here. So we have basically the whole board under control, which is really good for us. I'm sure Belasco's going to come out and ruin it all, but we will go ahead and have Triage hit for 2 here, and we don't want them to block for us. So we have a tough to use, and I think that's chill. Do I Avengers? No, I think I just leave the Avengers up. We'll just draw into the Spiritual Meditation. No, let's Avengers and draw into it. And then a Colossus will be at the top. So yeah, we'll just keep that. Now we'll just ready up draw. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. And then this will be at the top. Magic Barrier. Okay. All right. So go by 1. This one also goes up by 1 because of the force response. Unus is going to attack us. Oh, wait, sorry. At the beginning of the villain phase, I actually do want to swap Magic Barrier in my hand and Colossus. Because, yeah, I actually just want to play the Colossus here. So when an enemy attacks you, we can play Colossus from our hand, paying his resource cost. We'll spend these 2 resources. He's the defender, and he will not exhaust here. So he has a tough on him. So he's going to attack us for a base of 2, 3 damage, all into Colossus' tough. Counter card here. Targeted for extermination. The player defeats this, confuses their identity. Comes in with 3. Nick Fury will leave play at the end of the round. Okay. That's back to us. So top card of our deck's always face up. I think we'll just play the Spiritual Meditation to start with. Draw 2. And then discard 1. I feel like I don't really need the Magic Barrier right now. Okay. Then what we want to do is, yeah, I guess deal damage, push damage, whatever you want to call it. Let's have Triage just swing for 2 here. That's going to go ahead and knock Triage. Sorry, Polaris going to swing for 2. It's going to go ahead and knock her out. That'll flip him to a stage 3. Just comes in with tough, and he has the same abilities essentially, but he has 18 health now. Pretty cool. So do that. Down to 18. So then now we've got damage we can push. So we've got Colossus here. We could just clear targeted for extermination. I mean, it's not like the worst idea, but I don't know. I feel like just playing these events will be better for us. Like just recycling Soul Strike twice is probably way better. It's pretty unlikely that he schemes out here, so I think we're just gonna end up doing that. Let's go ahead and swing on him for 2. Bring him down to 16. We have piercing because of the Soul Sword, and he has no retaliate right now. not that I'm aware of. I have Colossus swing for 2 more. Down to 14. Then we will play a... what's it called? Actually, I think we want to draw into basic spell. So we'll do our Avengers first, because we probably want to end up playing that. Then we'll Stepping Disc something back on the top. And then, so we'll do basic spell, Stepping Disc, then play it off the top. I don't think we have enough economy for it. So we'll have to Stepping Disc just once, I think. So we'll do a Stepping Disc here. We'll ready our hero and put a card on the top of our deck. We're just going to get a Soul Strike here. So it's going to cost 1. We'll hit him for 2 more. Bring him down to 12. Then we would spend 1 resource from our hand to play the Soul Strike off the top. Deal 4 damage. And if we had the right icons, we would have stunned him. We don't. So bring him down to 8. We'll spend this double for a basic spell. We'll deal 3 damage to an enemy. Bring Unus all the way down to 5. And that's going to be it. We're just going to... Actually, I didn't need to spend the last Stepping Disc because I had the X-Jet up. So I'll just spend the X-Jet instead and I'll hold Stepping Disc in my hand. And now we'll ready up and draw. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 1 encounter card. Got Luke Cage. Cool. At the beginning, I think I will swap a card. So we'll swap one of these Desperate Defenses with Luke Cage instead. And it's going to start with them. So it's going to go up to 3. This will go up to 3 because of the forced response. Unus is going to tag us for base of 3. Let's trigger this Desperate Defense here. So we're going to defend it with +2. So we have 4 defense right now. And then, well, it could be 5. Nope, just 4. Base of 4. So he hits us for 5. But we have a tough. So we do ready up, retaliate him for 1. We have 1 encounter card left. See it? Under fire. Okay, 2 more encounter cards. Targeted for extermination again. So we still can't throw it off the main. And then the player defeats his Confuser identity. And hunted. As an alter ego action, we can discard a card from our hand and discard this card. Well, we won't be making it there. So we can just draw into the Spiritual Meditation. Let's just play it. Draw 2, discard 1. Let's get rid of the Indomitable, I guess. Into a Soul Strike. And yeah, that's just kind of all she wrote. We'll spend 1 resource for the Soul Strike. Hit him for 4. Does he get stunned? He does not. And that's 4. Down to 0. Boom. That is Unus defeated on expert mode. We remembered about Gene Pool. I don't think I ever blocked with an ally this game. And it was honestly way cleaner than the last game. I found some of my doubles pretty early. And it worked out really well. Now, if I forgot something here or there, maybe I didn't get a ready off of this. And I should have taken an extra retaliate. I'm sure that would have happened. But I don't think I attacked enough times to even be defeated. But I'm sure if you were counting, you'll be able to catch it. But yeah, that was pretty solid. Magik in Protection is always super fun because these are 1-cost events that you can play in the villain phase. But as always, let's go ahead and check out the deck list. Okay, so here are the deck list. Now let's talk Magik. Magik is one of those characters that, even though I don't find myself playing super often, I think she's really fun. And a lot of it is on account for kind of like her pure power. So her hero power is so deceptively strong. It's crazy. Because you play with that top card of your deck face up every single turn, and you have the ability to play it once per phase, reducing its cost by 1. Essentially, she has a 6-card hand and always has a helicarrier on the board when she starts off the game. It's extremely strong and very good. It makes a lot of cards that are kind of like under tempo or not as great so much better. Not that a Desperate Defense or Indomitable are bad cards by any means, but I find myself shying away from this card in a lot of builds. But in Magik, if I'm playing her in Protection specifically, it makes a ton of sense. There's another protection thing you can do with like Mutant Protectors, but because I'm really trying to limit the amount of packs, I didn't feel like it was super... especially for the box 1 villain of Age of Apocalypse, to get like a 10-pack deck list of a bunch of like mutant X-Men kind of allies, basic allies and whatnot, and do a Mutant Protectors build. And also, it's probably not super great against Unus anyway because of the Gene Pool shenanigans he's got going on, where after an ally is defeated by anything other than consequential, he puts extra threat on it. But yeah, Magik is so strong, and it really gets so much stronger, and it comes all together when she gets her limbo support down. Essentially, at the start of the villain phase, you can swap any card in your hand with the card at the top of your deck, which lets you play one of these cards like a Desperate Defense for free. You can play like your Magic Barrier for free, or even like Colossus for 2 costs. He'll take the attack for you on his tough and be ready. Very, very strong, very cool, and lets you make use of your discount even in the villain phase more easily. Or if you find that you didn't have any sort of like villain phased cards to swap out to get that discount on, you can always exhaust it on the player phase and make your player phase turn even better if you hadn't found any. Let's talk about the deck list. I'm going to be honest, a lot of this is just really strong basic cards. There's a lot of really strong basic cards that came out in Age of Apocalypse and kind of the heroes around this wave. And also just traditionally, Mystic support has a lot of great cards in basic that really fills out the slots. So she came with a reprint of Spiritual Meditation. This card is essentially lets you play like a 37 card deck. I think we're on 40, or maybe this card has 40, deck has 44. I can't remember. Essentially, this is just lowers your deck by 3 cards because whenever you see it, you basically always play it. You play it from your hand, draw 2 cards, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. This is at the top of your deck with your hero ability. You can play this. It draws you 2, and you still just discard 1. So it is just like a straight +1. It's almost like this turns into Avengers Mansion when sitting on the top of your deck. But usually I find myself wanting to actually, play a card for a discounted cost rather than this one, because this doesn't really get discounted, but you kind of do still get that discount in your hand because it draws you a card. It's definitely interesting for sure. 3 copies of Basic Spells, another one that she came with, is extremely powerful. I don't know how else to explain. Play only if you have the Mystic trait as a hero action. You can choose to heal 3 from an identity, so in multiplayer it doesn't even have to be yours. Remove 3 threat from a scheme, which is literally the perfect number in solo for like the player side schemes and most of the villain side schemes. Or deal 3 damage for an enemy. It's literally whatever you need when you need it. It's so good, and it has also other synergy with her interrupt here that says when you change the hero form, you can choose a spell, not necessarily a magic card, and put it at the top of your deck. This is a spell. It's so strong and so good. Speaking of the last support, I think Mystic got here through Magik was the Blood Gem, which says you can tap it, exhaust it, and take 2 damage to generate a wild resource. It's a 0-cost resource generator. I mean, you do have to take 2 damage every time, but if you're fine with your health pool where you have a lot of toughs going around, not if you have a tough, that's different, because I don't think you can activate this if you have a tough, but if you have ways to keep your HP in check, it's just more resources, more money for you. And Sorcerer Supreme, one of the most broken cards in the game. If you have the Mystic trait, you get +1 hand size in hero form. I got this kind of like the mid game, maybe to the early game, and now I go from 5 card hands, which is basically 6 with her ability, to 6 cards hands, which are basically 7 with her ability. Super strong. She has so many choices and options she can make and what she can do. We have the pretty basic 2 of the core box goats, Nick Fury, Mockingbird, Mutant Genesis Goat, we got Professor X here, and also we got Age of Apocalypse Goat for the X-Men, specifically Triage. After Triage enters play, heal 2 damage from an X-Men character. It's just super efficient. 2-cost allies are so strong, especially 2-cost allies that heal you. Very good card. Saves you a turn from having to flip down, gives you a block, a little bit of pinging a tough or a little bit of threat off something. We're on the 3 basic doubles here: Energy, Genius, and Strength. Classic. There are arguments where you can play Magic decks with like no resources because you almost always want to maximize the amount of things you're playing off the top of your deck. But I think the 3 basics doubles are just still strong enough to warrant a spot in this deck. We do have a couple of high cost cards, and they came in clutch playing stuff like Nick Fury. Desperate Defense. You get +2 to your defense when you're here defense against an attack, and if you take no damage, you can ready that. There's combos where if you have the tough from Hard Knocks, you can guarantee it, but the main reason it's in here is if we have Limbo down and we draw into this, this is essentially just like a free big defense for us, not necessarily guaranteeing the ready, but it means we don't take any damage, and we didn't really spend any cards from our hand to do so, which is really cool. Also, it can just happen to be at the top card of your deck, so there's like no reason not to do it most of the time. It's very similar to Magic Barrier. 3 copies of Indomitable here. This is a similar thing, but for the player phase. If we find that I didn't really have any good card to use my discount on, and this happens to be at the top of my deck, just play it down for free. Whenever your hero defends, you can discard it to ready your hero. Has a little bit of synergy with her Mystical Armor, because she can have like retaliate, so like if you defend twice in a turn, you're pinging 2 damage, which is still pretty solid. Hard Knocks is just one of my favorite cards in protection, and there are a lot of, not a lot, but there are definitely a fair few minions in this encounter set where you deal 4 damage to an enemy, and if that enemy is defeated by this attack, you get a tough. Essentially, you just do a little bit of, it's really big tempo play. You knock out the minion on the board, you get a tough, so you don't have to exhaust to defend or anything on the villain phase. And then, yeah, you just keep it going. You just keep the tempo going. Last three cards here, we got the Nightcrawler ally, Polaris, and Luke Cage, my classic core box favorite. I think the only one that hit the table is Polaris because she's just extremely good. She can give a tough status to an X when she enters play, so there's no shortage of toughs in this deck. Nightcrawler can prevent damage if we're ever in a bind, and Luke Cage also comes in with a tough. That's essentially the deck list. I gave a little bit of a spoiler what I thought about Unus at the beginning of the episode, but as always, let's go ahead and see where Unus stacks up with the rest of the villain in Marvel Champions. I'll see you there. Okay, so here we are with the villains. Now let's go ahead and talk about Unus. So Unus is a bit of an interesting case where, in terms of like first box villains, I actually think he's probably on the tougher end of them, but I still don't think he's very hard, which I think is a good place to be for a first box villain. So if we look at the history of the first box villains here, so we're looking at Crossbones. Okay, we got like a solid C tier. We move on to a Drang, which I think is a bit higher up, but I think, where is Drang? I completely forgot where I put him. Oh yeah, he's at the bottom of B tier here, so he's definitely a bit tougher, getting a bit tougher than Crossbones. I guess Rhino is technically a first box villain, who I think is a bit tougher than Crossbones. We move on from there into, I think it's Mad Titans, right, which is Ebony Maw, which again we're floating around in this C tier, and then we move forward to Sandman, also in this C tier. Then we move on to what's phase 1, Sabretooth. That one's a bit tough. He's at the kind of the topper half of B tier right here. Then we move on from there to Morlock Siege, which is an extremely easy scenario, probably the easiest first box villain so far. And I think Unus has some things that are kind of rough for him. One of them, as opposed to a lot of first box villains where like their main scheme is kind of like a really big limiting factor, where it's like either it's like kind of low, like in solo specifically you have to be scared of it. I think Unus is kind of the opposite of that. You really don't have to be scared of his main scheme. It starts at 11, and at step 1 of the villain phase it ticks up gene pool. What you really need to be scared of is kind of like very similar to like a Rhino, where you have to be scared of kind of survivability. So like a juxtaposed to Rhino, surviving against Rhino is actually pretty easy if you utilize allies and whatnot, even though he's supposed to be kind of like the scaring, hulking, brute who you're supposed to be scared of his attack activations, but in solo you're only scared of his scheme. On the opposite for Unus, I feel like I don't know. I feel like you'd kind of get the impression that his scheme would be important, but no, it's really you have to be scared of his attack activations, and you really have to be able to do some threat management, not necessarily on the main. That's probably why the main's as high as it is, because Gene Pool starts off with 4 threat on it at the beginning, and he gets buffs based on the amount of threat on Gene Pool. At 3 threat, he gets Retaliate 1. At 6, he gets Stalwart, which is really scary, so you can't like stun and confuse him. And then at 9, I think he gets that extra, it's not acceleration, it's not a hazard, it's the +1 to the boost icon, which means he's hitting harder for his attacks, he's scheming for more. So it really is something that you have to make a well-rounded deck to defeat him. And also, because of Gene Pool being permanent, you can't rely on allies only for your survivability. You need to find survivability in other ways through like tough status cards, using your basic defense, maybe like protection with readying and whatnot. It really does incentivize you to use your basic defense or find other ways to keep your HP in check without using allies, because you will be punished for that Gene Pool threat going high up. On expert mode, he starts with another encounter card, so that's another extra bit of tempo. And yeah, I think he has a really well thought out and thorough challenge to him. I think that you will find probably that he's not as easy as you expect him to be, and unless you're playing specifically protection and solo like I did in this episode with the hero who I think is also very strong, I was kind of like downplaying him a little bit. He still is pretty tough, and he's not someone to kind of deal with lightly. The thing is, if you make a good deck for him, you're probably guaranteed to beat him like 100% of the time, but he does force you to adjust your deck in a way where protection and defending is very important, because he will defeat you. He does deal decent damage. It's not like super high. He's 2-2 on his stage 2. That goes to 2-3 on his stage 4, but again, if you let that Gene Pool go out of control, you don't have ways of like dealing decent damage and mitigating threat. He can be tough. If we're looking at this, do I think he's more difficult than Sabretooth? I'd say probably not, mostly on the basis that the Mystique mod set exists. I think probably the Sinister Six has some things above Unus here. Honestly, I can see him like maybe this Green Goblin type level. I think Mansion Attack's probably a bit higher. I could see Unus here. I mean, Drang and Hela aren't anything crazy. You have Taskmaster here. I think middle B tier is pretty solid for him. Even though I was kind of like gassing up his like difficulty as a stage 1 villain. I do think compared to the likes of Sabretooth, he's still probably a bit tougher just because of how restrictive he is and how restrictive healing is as a mechanic on the villain. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm completely off the mark with Unus? You think he's way harder than I think, which I doubt? Do you think he's way easier than I think, which I think is probably more likely? Let me know down in the comment section down below. I hope you guys are excited for the proverbial end of Marvel Rewind coming up at the end of this box. I'm having a lot of fun thus far. Let's go ahead and finish it out strong. Age of Apocalypse is a box that has a lot of really good villains. Just a really solid box all around. We're moving on to the 4 Horsemen next week, which I'm going to be getting some retribution against from those who checked out my live streams back in the day with one of my friends. A bit of hint on next episode, what's going to be going on with that and the gimmick of that one. But leave a like down below, subscribe if you aren't already. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.